Hi, welcome. This is lesson one of our student maths course where we'll be looking at the case of the damaged painting. And you have Keisha and Alton looking at some kind of solution to this problem. So I am Alton Felix and I will be the person presenting the solution to the math court. Along with me, I have our math expert witness, Jerry, who has been very kind to write his solution alongside the problem. We have done it this way to save us time in terms of writing and the time taken to complete this video. So let's go straight into the question. All the information is presented on screen and we know the facts. We would have read the question already. And we have this art which was valued at $23,525 being damaged by another student, Keisha. She did not damage the entire painting, only 64% of the painting. And that situation escalated into a court matter where Alton is now demanding 150% of the damage value plus his legal fees. This matter is before Judge Stern, and a final verdict was reached where Judge Stern said, listen, Keisha should pay 135% of the damage value and 3/4 of the legal fees. Now, Keisha's mother, Helen, is also before the court, and the judge is willing to give a 5% discount if payments are made within 10 days. We are assuming here that Helen would have paid within 4 days of the verdict. So let's go. So there should be some minor correction here ordered. Calculate the amount ordered by Judge Stern for the damage value. So how much Helen should pay if payments are made 4 days after the verdict? Let's turn to Jerry's solution. The damage value of the painting should first be calculated, which is being shown right here. 64% of the total value gives us US $15,056. Well done, Jerry. And in addition to that, there is a 135% of that value, which is your damages, part of your damages, 135% of that value. Notice 135% means 135 out of 100 if you want to write that as a fraction. And if you need to find out what part Helen should pay, you multiply this now by 15,056. Jerry would have done the working for us. This translates into 1.35 multiplied by 15,056. And that is what we are seeing right here. So the total now is $20,325.60. In addition to that, 3/4 of the legal costs should be added. And then that translates 3/4 is 0.75. That is a total of 1,237.50 plus the $20,000, 325.60, which gives us $21,563.10 that Helen is responsible for paying. One simple act done by Keisha, who has been described as a school bully, damaging Alton's property, has caused Helen to be liable for a grand total of $21,563.10. So we as students, we need to be very, very careful that we respect other person's property and that we are very careful not to damage personal property belonging to other persons, okay? Now, the nice thing about it is that Helen was able to make that payment within 4 days of the verdict, and therefore she's entitled to some kind of discount. And let's see how much that discount is. So let's go to the second part, which says, find the difference between the total amount that Alton had initially demanded and the final amount that he received from Helen. Okay, so we need to factor in that discounted amount that Helen is going to pay, and that is being done quite nicely by Jerry right across here. Let's calculate that discount. So 5% of the total amount gives us the discount of $1,078 and about 16 cents. So that is one way of working out our discount. I'm going to just use here for the working. Since we are dealing with dollars and cents, that will be US 1078.16 dollars and cents. So the final payment is expected to be the total amount ordered, inclusive of legal fees, minus this discounted amount. And let's see if we can work out that using our calculator. So the total amount is $21,563.10, and we are subtracting the discounted figure, 1,078.16. Now, rounding is important. Rounding is important. So, give or take 1 cent difference between my answer of 20,484.94 and Jerry's answer of 20,484.95. That is okay. Rounding will give us slightly different answers, but Jerry's also spot on there. Now, another method for working out that final answer of 20,484.96, which Jerry did not mention, we could probably look at it. Perhaps you would have done that. So if we recognize that the discount is 5%, then Helen will be entitled to pay 95% of the total amount. Why 95%? Because remember, 100% is always considered the whole. And out of that 100%, Judge Turner has allowed a 5% discount. So if this part is 5% and the whole is 100%, think of it like a pizza, then the remaining portion here must be 95%. And that is what Helen is responsible for paying. So let's again turn to our calculator and work out 95% of 20,000. Is it 20? No, it's 21,563.10. And again, our answer should be similar. Now, I see where Jerry would have gotten, again, because of rounding. Are you seeing that? 20,485.945. So you are looking at, if you are rounding to 2 decimal places, you count 2 digits after the point, and then you consider your third digit, which is a 5. So remember, we discussed that in our previous lesson. If it is, you have a digit which is 5 or more after your 2 digits, you work in the 2 decimal places. So you will look at the number 4 or the digit 4, and then you add 1 to that. So I will concur and say that Jerry's final answer is what we can probably use as the official amount for right, that Helen has to pay. Now, let's see what Alton really wanted. Initially, Alton wanted 150% of the damage value. We worked out the damage value previously as 15,056, and Alton's demand was 150% of the damage value. 150% means 150 over 100, and this is equal to 1.5. So Alton wanted 1.5 times that figure, 15,000.056, and that is what we are seeing as calculated here to give us his initial demand. Now, in addition to that, let's look at his original legal fees. He did not get all the legal fees. He got 3/4 of this amount, but his original legal fees came up to 1,650. So therefore, his total demand was 24,234. And based on the calculation we just did here, Helen is entitled to 20,484, entitled to pay that amount. So the difference, when you subtract these two figures, which is what our math expert is showing us here, this is the difference, as the question asks, the difference between Alton's demand and Helen's final payment. Let's write it down, $3,749.06. So thanks again for taking the time to watch this video. I hope it was of some value to you as we continue to look at the practical way in which we can use math in our everyday life so that math is made relevant. Until we meet again in our next lesson, do have an enjoyable day. Bye.